Presidential hopefuls are meeting in Wisconsin and Milwaukee tonight for the first debate of the 2024 presidential season.
8 candidates will take the stage in Milwaukee after meeting the Republican National Committee's criteria for participating, which includes at least 40,000 donors and 1% in qualifying polls. But the Republican leading the pack will not be in attendance, as we know, former President Donald Trump.
One candidate who will not be participating is Republican presidential candidate Steve Laffey. Steve is joining us now. Welcome back to Morning Rush. So listen, you know, everyone knows kind of the two main narratives right now, or three, I should say. Trump won't be there and will dominate the news cycle the next day by turning himself in here in Atlanta. And two, the debate essentially is a way for someone to make themselves kind of the clear number two, even though that would be a distant number two. What are you expecting from the debate, and what's your reaction to you yourself not being on that stage?
Well, the Republican National Committee set up such rules that it resulted in people feeling pressure, and 3 people, I think, violating FEC rules, including the governor of North Dakota, who is on the debate stage, because they decided if you sent me $1, they would send you $20. That's called a straw man. The RNC set up unrealistic rules, 40,000 donors and polling, where they should have went back to 2011 and 2016, where there probably would have been more people on the debate stage, but that's not what they wanted. I think that, you know, for example, Fox News is hosting this thing. That seems to be not legitimate given the recent fine they paid. And what President Trump has done to the party is the worst thing I've ever seen, starting in 2015, you know, when he said that when he wasn't penalized for saying that John McCain wasn't a war hero because he was captured. Then he announced that he grabbed women by the private parts. And the party now is a bunch of sycophants running for office and backstabbers, people who are on the debate stage who support President Trump. They say he's a great president. They say the 2020 election was not legitimate. So I wasn't willing to do any of that because I'm not ever going to endorse President Trump. And then if you add in people like Chris Christie and Governor Asa Hutchinson, who actually signed a pledge knowing that they're lying about it because they've said they never would endorse President Trump, this is an outrage. But the biggest outrage is what President Trump has done is that he's taken his middle finger, stuck it up to all the people in the Republican Party by going off with Tucker Carlson, who, I mean, he's doing it at the same time with Tucker Carlson, a man who just came back from Serbia, meeting with Serbian leaders, saying, quote, the war against Russia was led by NATO. He's not even on the same planet as the Republican Party, and he doesn't care. But that's where this narcissist, President Trump, goes. It's outrageous. I hope they have some legitimate questions. I doubt they will.
So given all that you just said, I mean, just about the other people that are going to be on that debate stage tonight and the former president facing now his 4th indictment here in Georgia, I mean, what are your hopes for the party then, if you're saying that it has completely changed and completely morphed into something that isn't respectable?
My party suffers from some twisted Stockholm syndrome where they love the person who's punished them, and they're starting to bring in even more hate against other people like the Democratic Party. My hope is that, like in the French Revolution, when they chopped off about 170,000 heads, everybody just got exhausted. And I hope that we can return to some normalcy, but I don't see it on the campaign trail. I just don't see it. I head to Iowa, then I head to New Hampshire. Listen, there's lots of great people in my party, but the leadership at the RNC and what they allowed Donald Trump to do to my party is outrageous. And there's a real chance that the Republican Party simply goes away if we can't correct it. That's what I'm fighting for. The Republican Party should be what I'm saying, I think, have real plans to run for president and be there for one reason. I'm running to get the middle class back, to enlarge it, to stop what's happened to the middle class and to get people out of poverty. I don't hear that from people. I just hear attacks. I hear Mr. Ramsawamy talking about 9/11 was an inside job. This propaganda, the stuff that goes on within my party from the people who are actually in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, let's say, in the polls. I mean, the governor of Florida said that SVB Bank went broke because it was woke. This stuff is not true. We have a financial crisis facing our country right now with nobody who has any answers to it. So yes, you're putting up There's the people, right? I mean, they either love Trump and are running with him, right? Looks like the first three people, or they're trying to take him out with Chris Christie. Chris Christie's the most flawed character candidate in the race. He left office with 3 of his people being arrested and 2 going to jail. This is what's happened to our party. Anybody can run. There are no constraints. There's no umbrella. There's no Reagan 80-20 rule. It's just simply a disaster. And I hope we can get back to some normalcy. That's why I'm running.
And Mr. Laffey, at the end of the day, though, we can talk about the candidates, we can talk about the RNC, we can talk about the qualifying rules for the debate and all the nuts and bolts and behind-the-scenes mechanics of politics. At the end of the day, for now, we're still a democracy. And millions, tens of millions of people are Trump supporters. Got him in once. He got more of the popular vote the second time than the first time. So forget the mechanics of the politics and the candidates. It's still a system governed by the people. So let's not talk about rules. What would you say to the average Trump Republican sitting in their kitchen table having a morning coffee watching this show right now? What do you say to the people, not to the system?
I would say to the people, listen, we have way too much debt, and $8 trillion of it came from 4 years of Donald Trump being president, including the PPP program that even major channels call the biggest fraud in a generation. I would say that we've got to return to our roots, and you've got to wake up before it's too late for this great country. We can't have somebody as president again who's convicted of sexually abusing a woman, and when he goes to a college to speak, he makes fun of that lady, and people in the audience laugh. That's not how we grew up, people in America. That's not what we need. We need policies to bring back the middle class, not this constant narcissism in our party. Wake up now before it's too late.
And if it is Trump versus Biden, who gets your vote?
Neither one would get my vote.
We'll leave it there.
All right.
I'm not a least word person, Rob. I wouldn't vote for either one of them, but I would never want President Trump to come back into office.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve Laffey. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jay?